Now we wait for a minute. We are live.
Oh, cool.
Hello, Milena.
Hello.
From Austria, directly
Hello.
to United States. I'm so glad that we are together now.
I know.
How was your day?
Oh, crazy. It's always crazy at home, with everybody here.
I believe, and it's not a difficult period now, for sure, not even in the United States.
The dog, the mom, the husband, everybody home.
I know, and with this virus as well, because I know that it's not easy.
No.
In the United States as well in this period,
Exactly. But we'll get through it.
We have to.
Be fine. Exactly. This is quick, so yeah.
I'm so glad that we choose a beautiful day, because here it's a sunny day. It's nice. It's very nice as well.
Very nice. Here was windy. It's windy. It's a little cool for this time of year. And I don't know. I saw some people posting that they saw snowflakes. I didn't see them. Yeah, I was too busy. But I think some people saw snowflakes today. But yeah, it's cold for May for this time of year. It's chilly here today.
Yeah, indeed. I was talking now because I have to be attentive as well on what's happening here. So for you, Milena, sharing or our live as well for your fans from your page.
Yes.
They will tell me that you have just to take the share the link from the page from my page.
I can just share that now, or
yeah,
I can.
In a moment, I will send it. I think on email as well. Better, it will be easier for you.
Well, actually, no. I think I can go to your page. Let me see.
In a moment, because I have to be attentive as well on the thing. If not, I will just send you on email.
That's fine. I can share it after too. Oh, I see it. Let me see. I see it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just it's so simple. I hope everything is okay, but I'm happy. So I don't want to keep you more, because time is important as well.
Yeah.
For you too, and for all the people who I hope they are with us today. So I really admire you, and I admire your work. Your decision to share your Portuguese heritage, and we talk about the Portuguese food. A lot of people admire that at you, and I know that you really had sold out on your books as well.
On my spiral did. Yeah, it's
congratulations.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Nice. Yeah. It's the spiral. I love the spiral. I use my own book at home sometimes, because some things I know from my head, but especially when it comes to like baked goods, I forget exactly how much sugar or flour. So sometimes I refer to my book, and my husband's been using my book a lot. So it's just the spiral is very easy to open up, but I sold out of all of them, which was pretty amazing. It's nice.
Yeah, indeed. And it's easier to use it in the kitchen.
It is, because you can just split it in half and open it up and put it on the counter. With the other one, you're always struggling to keep the pages flat. And even though I did a lay flat book for the other one, it still doesn't lay completely flat. And then, if you force it too much, you can break the binding and stuff. So
no, but it's a very good book, and I just wait for us to share here in Europe.
Yes,
because we have the possibility to use Amazon, but it takes a bit of time. So I was thinking that for Europe it will be super. To try easier this, directly, and the Portuguese from here to try to get it as well.
And get it out there.
It's super, because there are a lot of Portuguese as well, not only in what we have still in Portugal, and there are a lot in all the world.
Oh, I know. I have books that went out to Australia. I saw books go out to Macau, South Africa, all over the world. It's exciting. Yeah, Canada. Yeah.
Congratulations. That is super.
Thank you.
How you had the idea to write this book?
Well, one day I went looking for a Portuguese cookbook written in English, because I was going to be attending a fundraiser. It was a cancer fundraiser, and I wanted to donate an item, like they do like a little raffle. And I was like, well, let me put together somewhat like a Portuguese tray, like the clay, the cooking trays, and include some Portuguese items like the olive oil. And I said, oh, a cookbook would be perfect. But when I went looking for a cookbook, I didn't find too many. Like you can look for Italian or Spanish or Mexican and you find hundreds, thousands, but Portuguese written in English, there weren't many. There was a handful of them. And then I found one by actually someone I know, Anna Patulea Ortiz. I ended up meeting her a few years ago after I wrote my book. And I loved her book. So I purchased that one for the auction item. And so this was maybe 10 years ago. And I thought to myself, I came home and I told my husband, like, wow, there's really not that many Portuguese cookbooks in English. And there really should be, because Portuguese food, for me, I mean, I'm biased because I'm Portuguese, but I think it's some of the best food in the world. And it's a shame if the new generations don't continue cooking Portuguese food. And Portuguese is a hard language. I can understand the new generations. Some of them might, even if they speak Portuguese, when you read a Portuguese cookbook, it's not the same as conversational, lá bom dia, como é que está, meu nome é Milena. It's different, when you read a recipe and some of the ingredients, it's confusing. So I'm like, let me just put it in English. And then the measurements are in grams, and who wants to measure, grams of flour? You rather just know how many cups it is. So like we use here. So that's what I did. I worked on all the recipes. I came up with the measurements, and I thought that would be very helpful for the people in the United States. I was thinking people in the US.
It is, and the Portuguese cuisine, it's so, and I recognized before I wasn't, so with my job, journalist, I was going here and there. I didn't have time to stay on the kitchen,
Oh, I know.
Every time eating probably junk food or in the restaurant.
Right.
But we decided to have our own family, and my husband, that is Portuguese, teached me a lot about the Portuguese cuisine. It's very good, and it's not only from him, from his family in Portugal. And it's amazing, because I discovered it. There are a lot of non-Portuguese from Europe that are loving the Portuguese food,
Yes.
And it's so good, and you discover a lot of things.
Yeah, it's good to see. And I find Portuguese food a lot of it is healthy. We eat a lot of seafood. We eat a lot of vegetables. So, I mean, there's some of the fried stuff that's not so good, but I stay away from that. My mother didn't fry a lot of foods. We ate a lot of seafood, and I'm very fortunate. I have very good cooks around me. Not just my sisters. I have one sister that passed away, but she was an excellent cook. My other sister that is living in Portugal, she's also excellent. And then my brothers-in-laws, both of them, my brother-in-law in Portugal and the one here, and my dad. So I was surrounded by amazing cooks, and my aunts and that lives in Gloucester. And I figured, why not get these recipes from them and put a cookbook together, because they're not chefs, but their meals are amazing. For me, what makes me happiest is getting together with family and having a good home cooked meal.
And in a way, it's apart from your heritage, from your country, from your home, that you have it here and you share it there in United States. How did your friends, family friends, not Portuguese, I suppose, the Americans, how they discover this?
Well, here where I am, I'm fortunate. I live in a very big Portuguese community. There, New Bedford, Mass. It's a fishing port, and that's one of the reasons why we moved here, because my dad was a fisherman. So there's a lot of Portuguese that immigrated to New Bedford because way back when was the whaling from the Azores, and then we also have the Continentals that came to fish on the draggers like my dad did. And so there's a lot of Portuguese here, so it's easy to be connected. But the Americans here, they're very familiar with Portuguese food because over the years, a lot of Portuguese restaurants have opened up. We have the Portuguese clubs and little Portuguese markets. And a lot of the Americans kind of grew up eating Portuguese food in this community, and they love it. They love it too.
Yeah, that is super, and to share with the others or the others to learn from you and to discover the Portuguese cuisine, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And now, I mean, even if you're not in a Portuguese community, Portugal's, like they say, está na moda. It's a style. So a lot of people are visiting Portugal now. A lot of Americans that never would have considered Portugal a few years ago. I mean, when I was growing up, no Americans went to Portugal. They had no.
Not so many. Yeah.
Yeah, let's be honest. A few years ago, not few, but many years ago when I was young, Portugal was not really a destination for people. It was not on their list. Today it is. It's a hot place to go. And so there's more interest in Portuguese food. So it actually worked out, you know, that I came out with a book and now Portugal's popular. So there's a lot of non-Portuguese interested in the book. And it's funny because there's also a lot of Portuguese men married to non-Portuguese women. So I have a lot of those women reach out to me and say they tried my recipes and made, you know, these dishes that reminded their husbands of their moms and their grandmothers, and it's made them very happy. And that makes me happy, you know. What makes me really happy is it's wonderful when the Portuguese can make these dishes that are in my cookbook, but when it's someone who's not even Portuguese and they can nail it, like they can make favas guisadas and they taste like made by a Portuguese, that's amazing to me that they can pick up my recipe and I can help them get to that. I actually had at a library a couple of years ago, it was a cooking club and it was all American ladies and they all picked a recipe from my book and they made it. And then everybody tried the food. They made different recipes and it came out tasting authentic. Like these women that were not even Portuguese made these dishes and it was.
And they loved it for sure.
And they love it. Yeah, they love it. So that was a fun, you know, a fun thing to take part in, to have those non-Portuguese ladies make my food and it tasted great.
This book changed your life, Milena? And how? How it changed your life?
Well, for one, it kept me busy because I, after I had my second daughter, I actually got laid off from my job. So I was home and I'm one of those people, I'm a little bit of a busybody. I cannot like just sit still and doing nothing. I feel like I have to be doing something and also contribute.
That is good. That is good.
So it was the right time because I was home. I'm like, it was the right time to start learning how to make these dishes. And so it made me a much better cook because wanting to put this book together and also my Facebook page, that was the start of it, made me finally make certain meals or desserts. Like I had never made cavacas. I had never made arroz doce. Can you believe it? I never made arroz doce until a few years ago. And I grew up eating that stuff, but it was just one of those things, I'll make it one day, and I just never did. So this forced me to learn a lot more about cooking, and I'm a much better cook than I was before, and just trying all these different things and learning what I can from my family. And everyone has something to teach you, everyone in your family. They don't have to be professional chefs, and you pick up the phone, you ask them, and you have a question, and they're there. And that was very rewarding. It's definitely very rewarding to have the time to put this together. And I feel like I've grown a lot putting this together. And I feel like I've made a lot of connections too with different people. Being on my Facebook page, it's introduced me to a lot of different people that have reached out from different parts of America. And I've enjoyed it tremendously, definitely. And like you, I got to meet you through this. So it's introduced me to a lot of great people, a lot of people connected to the Portuguese people.
Yeah, indeed. And there are a lot of Portuguese here as well, Milena, in Austria and in Europe. There are a lot of people.
Yeah, I know like certain countries like Luxembourg, because when I'm in Portugal, I see people from Luxembourg all the time. Germany, my husband has family in Germany. I didn't realize Austria had plenty of people out there as well. That's good to know. Yeah. And the people are still keeping the tradition, exactly, and that is very good. I find that that happens a lot here, and it's interesting because you go to Portugal, and I always love the food in Portugal, but I'm finding that it's changing there a little bit. Whereas here, we're maintaining the traditional like way of cooking more. I think people there now are eating out more. And they're starting to change things a little bit, maybe modernize some dishes. And here, I think we tend to stay to the old, like closer to the old fashioned dishes, because that's what people brought over with them. And they maintain that, so while Portugal's evolving and things are changing there, we still have the immigrants. There's a there's a renewed interest in maintaining the Portuguese tradition here in America. In a lot of the Portuguese communities, because we have them throughout in California, in New Jersey, in New York, Florida. There's some clusters of Portuguese, and they stay very close to the old traditions, which I love.
That is so good, and I would love to to see that as well, much more everywhere.
Yeah, the festivals. There's for Day of Portugal, there's Portuguese festivals all over now, and unfortunately they've been canceled because it's next month already.
Because of this virus,
to all that's going on, so much uncertainty. So, but I'm disappointed because I was looking forward to going.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
It must be fine. We have to go through that as well.
Exactly.
Maybe for us to learn a bit from what is happening now.
Definitely. I think some good can come out of it. Definitely. Maybe a little bit of introspect for everybody and what's going on in the world, and maybe what needs to be.
To think much more what is important, what is really important,
Exactly.
For us.
We don't
for our purpose in this world. Exactly.
I think we've proven that we can live with a lot less than we need to. Definitely,
How you see Portugal today, Milena? How you see Portugal comparing with what you know from
the past?
Yes.
Portugal has evolved a lot. It's at one time when I first started going there, like nobody had a phone at home. Just one person here and there had a phone. I know my sister happened to have one, and my cousin. And now, like, you go out and everybody's got their cell phones. I remember when cell phones came out, they were addicted to their phones in Portugal so much more than here at first. Like, you'd be at a cafe and at a beach and people be on their phones. I'm like, oh my God, these people didn't even have phones at home. And like, now they're at a cafe, which I didn't like that. I wanted to be at the cafe. I didn't want someone being on their phone. But now we've kind of become like that too. Like, with the explosion in the internet and social media, people are always attached to their phones. But Portugal just has become so modern. I think a lot of people used to think it was a very backward country years ago, back in the 70s, maybe 80s. And I think if someone that's Portuguese and it hasn't been like in 20 years, I think they would be blown away. It's ultra modern. The way of thinking, the society, it's ultra modern. What happened is with the immigrants that came here, they still have their old fashioned way of thinking, where if you go to Portugal, they have a super modern way, relaxed, open. They're very open. It's a very open society now, where the Portuguese used to be very conservative. And I think that's what a lot of the immigrants in America still hold on to, being conservative. But if you go to Portugal, people are much more open and free than you would ever imagine. Parents are not strict anymore. And there's just a society has changed so much. And even the architecture, you go into a building, some of the buildings that come up now, they're ultra modern. The furniture, it's interesting to see. I like some of the changes, and then some I don't like. I don't like when they get rid of some of the beautiful old architectural buildings. Like in my city where I'm from, that's one thing that has disappointed me, is some of the old houses they're tearing down and building apartment buildings that look like blocks of cement. So things like that, there's the positive and the negative. And I just hope they keep that balance and continue to keep the old values and traditions that Portugal is loved for. And, it's good. Change is good, but too much change can be a little bit too much at times. But
when you don't know how to manage it, because I know this technology, it's a good thing. Look how easy now we are together, and we are here and you are there, and it's easier for us to make a connection. But the real connection, it's, as you say, when you have the real book in the hand, when you want to read something, it's in the moment you really want to read that book and to learn something and to do it, as you say, from your book. Because I would love, and I will do it, and we will talk about that after, how it is to have a really good book and to see how is to prepare a traditional food.
Yes, and that's what I wanted in my book.
Like,
I maintain the tradition. It's what my parents brought over, the traditional recipes. It's what I grew up with. And that's what I want to maintain, is as close to traditional. Obviously, I did grow up in America. There might be a little influence of something in that. I mean, it's natural, but I try to maintain as close to traditional as possible, because I think it's very important to not lose those traditional recipes. ways of making things, and even, you know, the traditions, the culture, the celebrations. It's very important to maintain that, I think.
Which is your favorite recipe from the Portuguese cuisine? Or maybe you have many, or not only one?
Yeah, my top, I mean, obviously seafood has to be at the top. My dad was a fisherman. My dad fished for cod when he started fishing for cod when he was 14. And he used to be away from the family for 6 months at a time when he did that. And that was how he fed the family. When he was young, living with his parents, the money would go to the mother to help pay for whatever they needed at home. And then that's how he supported my mom and my sisters when they lived in Portugal. And when he was not fishing for cod, he was fishing for sardinhas out of Figueira da Foz. And that just involved going out, you know, for the day and coming back. I think they leave at night. And so we grew up with a lot of codfish. My dad, of course, would salt his own cod. Even fishing here, he'd bring cod from his fishing trip and he'd salt it. It'd be hanging on the clothesline. That was really embarrassing. Like growing up in America and your clothesline has cod hanging out to dry. But I think now I think about it and it's like, it's a beautiful memory. You know, you don't see that. I don't see it around anymore, but there was a time a lot of fishermen, that's what they did. They had the cod hanging out. So we grew up with that. I love any cod dishes. Like bacalhau gormçado is one of my favorites, or alagareiro with the batata muhu, the punched potatoes. Then I love sardines asadas, because it brings back a lot of great memories.
I love it too.
Yeah, that's usually my first meal.
Pastéis de nata, sorry. Pastéis. We don't.
I love those two. But my favorite, I'll be honest, is the pastel de feijão. The white bean tart. That's my favorite. I've had different favorites.
And frango churrasco. Sorry, Milena. I have to say it. It's simple. Frango churrasco. So
that's we made
simple,
that.
But it's so
yes,
good.
We made that
You don't find anywhere the sauce that it's the Portuguese sauce from for the chicken, and it's something that you don't find to other cuisines. No. And I love it.
I have a recipe I called it piri piri chicken in my book, but it's to taste like the frango churrasco. I try to come up with combination of hot sauce. It's a store-bought. I use a store-bought piri piri sauce. I don't make my own. I'd like to try someday. And, you know, mixed with lemon and garlic. And I think I got the sauce close to the one that tastes like it does in Portugal. And so we made it on Sunday. We loved it so much we made it 2 days later. And it comes out really good. And I told my husband, like, it reminds me so much of the frango. But even I have to say, the frango that I used to have growing up in Portugal does not taste the same as the frango that I have in Portugal.
I believe
it does not. And I even told him, like, Nelson, this tastes like the original frango I used to eat years ago in Portugal. It doesn't.
And you know, Milena, I am thinking that what you are saying now, because I know as well Figueira da Foz, it's a nice city, and I like the beach, and as well a bit up where it's my husband and his family in the area of Cantaniere and Mira. And you know, when you eat this Portuguese food, you feel the smell of the sea, you know. It's as well, it's something that you can just keep it on a little box and to take it with you. I would love to do that.
I know. But for me, I love when I'm in Portugal and some people don't like sardines because they don't like the smell. But honestly, when sardines are on the grill, I love that smell. It takes me back to Portugal. And when you're walking in Portugal and people are at home and they're having the sardinhadas and you smell those sardines on the grill walking through the street, like, I love that. I love that smell. I love that feeling. Like, there's nothing like it. And so we grill sardines here a lot too, because we love it. It's healthy, but it also brings back that nostalgia and helps, you know, matar as saudades. And we actually buy the frozen sardines, and they work out well. In Figueira, we go to the lata, to the fish auction, and they buy, you know, my brother-in-law gets them fresh. We slap them on the grill. But here we buy them frozen, and they're just as good. I love them. And but there is something about walking through the streets there and smelling those sardines. So that for me is one of my favorites. And then my other favorite is feijoada. I love feijoada. I don't put the tripe in it. You can make it with the tripe. It's called dobrada. I make the feijoada, the Porto style, with the white beans and all the meats. But I leave out the tripe because personally I prefer not to eat the tripe. But that's one of my favorite. That sauce with a nice fresh popsicle. It's delicious. That's one of my favorite dishes. I have that one in my book too. And that one, that recipe. I try to gather my favorite recipes that I love, that are most beloved. And also, if I knew someone that made like the best of whatever it was, like my sister Linda that passed away, she made the best feijoada. So I made sure I learned that I learned
to learn from her
years ago, because I love that dish so much. But she would put the tripe in it, and I'm like, Linda, how do you make this? And she told me, I remember, I can picture myself in the kitchen. I was still at my other house, and she told me all the ingredients. I remember I scratched it down on a piece of paper. She had no like measurements. So I threw it together, and I don't know, I figured out the measurements, and it's one of my best dishes, and it's one of my favorites. And you serve it with some white rice and popsicks. It's
yeah, indeed. How are your girls? How they are, and how they are seeing your work with the book, and the people that is connecting with you now? Okay, much more online, but I'm sure of that, because I see the way you are interacting and trying to answer to everybody on Facebook, on your page, and as well, because it is normal to be like that. It's a way for us to connect with the people. And like in my case, and what I'm doing with my page is to make people to remember that a book, to have it in your hands, it's
not to forget
much more different than that online or PDF.
No, yeah,
thing,
things are going electronic, but yeah, there's nothing like having a book in your hand.
Exactly.
I definitely agree. But the girls, they're I mean, my other one, the little one, she's only 11, but she sees what I'm doing, and
for sure, I'm sure of that.
Honestly, when I'm doing things in the kitchen, she's more interested in helping me. Like when I do my batata muhu, she'll be like, "Oh, Mom, can I punch the potatoes?" And when I do my kavaka, she likes to do the icing. And I love that she has that interest. So I tell her, you'll have this cookbook, when you grow up, and you can, make mommy's dishes, and hopefully you'll appreciate it, And she's still little, but she likes to definitely help me in the kitchen.
Yeah, but she's interested. That it's clear. She's interested to discover much more.
Yeah, and my older one, I think she's a little bit surprised, like that done well. And like she'll even like some of her teachers at school, they're familiar with who I am. They're like, "Oh, my teacher knows you," and I'm like, "That's so funny," So she kind of gets a little freaked out by that, And then she doesn't like if I post a picture of her, in Portugal. She's like, "Mommy, why did you post that?" But it takes a little getting.
Yeah, but there as well, I wanted to talk with you about that, because it's not only the book; it's the way you are sharing a lot of beautiful pictures with places that you visited in Portugal.
Yes.
And this is a way,
Definitely.
The picture, as we generally saying, the pictures are saying much more than 1,000 words.
Oh, for sure. And now there's a lot more people posting pictures of Portugal, but years ago, there weren't that many people going to Portugal, and you didn't see that many pictures. And I think Portugal's popularity, honestly, it's, it could be the tourism agencies in Portugal as well. But I think people on the internet posting pictures of Portugal, and people finally seeing how beautiful it is and how modern it is, I think people did not expect that. And in my own experience, I'm talking maybe 5 or 6 years ago, someone said, "Oh, I love your pictures." She's like, "I thought Portugal was all dirt roads." This was almost like 6 or 7 years ago. And I'm like, "Are you kidding?" I'm like, "No, Portugal is incredibly beautiful. From the old buildings, the old cities, to the modern." People just had no idea. And I think with the internet now, like the internet, the pictures don't lie. That's really what Portugal looks like. And I think with people sharing their photos, and the people on Instagram and Facebook, those people that did not know where Portugal was, or that Portugal was part of Spain, because I've had people too, like way back. I've worked in places that are not in the Portuguese community, and if I talk sometimes to people that were like in different states, they're like, "Oh, you're Portuguese, you speak Spanish?" I'm like, "No, I speak Portuguese. We have our own language."
Yeah, Portuguese, it's Portuguese.
It's one of the most spoken languages. Not as much as Spanish, but it's still.
Yeah, but it is.
And not familiar, so I think with the internet, it helped to promote Portugal, and because the pictures don't lie, and I don't think people.
And not even that, Milena. We have to, as you do, as I'm doing, and I hope a lot of people will understand this. If you want to respect a nation, if you want to respect a country, you have to read. You have a bit of culture.
Yes.
This culture, you won't have it just, looking on TV.
Yes.
Because education you don't make with a TV.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Education means to read a real book,
Yes.
and to read good books, and to learn something, and to try to apply something to change in good your life and the people that you are taking care of.
Right. Exactly. And yeah, it seems like people are paying more attention to that, you know, and anything related to Portugal, which is good. It's good.
Yeah, yeah,
See.
indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, because what you did and what you are doing, it's really amazing. And believe me, I would really love to make a bit easier this connection of your work with the people from here, with the
Yes, that would
Portuguese
be
from
nice.
Europe, and
Definitely.
to be easier for them to take your book
Yes.
in a good time, you know.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I would love to have anyone anywhere around the world that would love to learn a little bit more, be connected to Portugal. If I can help them, definitely with my book, with my Facebook page. And I always, you know, post my travels in Portugal. And
The Facebook page, that we have to say and to repeat, it's the same as the name of the book. It's for Love of Portuguese Food.
yes, the exact same name. And on there, I've given people a lot of ideas. Like a lot of people have, you know, messaged me and said, "Oh, I'm going to Portugal. I want to spend this many days here and there," and I'll give them tips. And then they'll also say like, "Oh, you know, you inspired me to go here or there, or you know, go visit Batalha, or go to, you know, Quinta da Regaleira and Sintra." And it's nice to be able to do that. You know.
As I was thinking, you know, I'll try to keep a bit in mind in our discussion, and to talk about what we love, yeah, to share the Portuguese cultural traditions. But I want to ask you as well, trying to think of the gesture of Proust, um, which talent would you most like to have?
Me? That
Yes?
I don't have.
No, you like to have.
Oh, that talent that I like myself that I do have.
Yes. No, that you like to have.
That I would like to have. That
exactly.
I don't have.
Yes.
I'd like to be able to sing, to be a good singer. I always have, like, I joke about it. I'm like, I have this weird dream, being a female singer in a band like with all males. Like that was like a crazy dream. Like if I could do something, I would just love to be a singer on stage. And it's a crazy dream, obviously would never happen. But I mean, you can never. But I don't have a voice for singing. But that's one of those things I always would love to have been a good singer. Definitely, I think that would be fun. That would be exciting. Or I always joke too. I would love to be a detective. For some reason, I think I would love enjoying being a detective. But, maybe in another life.
Or not.
I know. I'm happy with things that, you know, how things have turned out for myself. So I'm not going to complain.
They're so good, and it will be better, much more. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
I'm probably not aggressive enough. My husband tells me that, you know, like with my book, and I'm just very laid back. I kind of go with the flow. I figure what's meant for me. Well, I'm aggressive to a certain point. Like I'm the type of person, like I'll be aggressive to get things rolling, right? And then I just let it roll and I wait for it to come to me. I set it in motion. Whereas, you know, instead of like being really aggressive, but I don't like to be aggressive. I find like it can be annoying. And so I like to be assertive. I'm very hardworking. I get things going and then I let things roll and just wait for things to come my way. And then I kind of grab it, which, you know, in some instances, I probably should be more aggressive. But I tell, you know, the way I say, the way I've been has worked out very well for me. So I'm probably just going to continue being the way I am. But yeah, being a little bit more aggressive might be a good trait, you know?
Yeah, and as you said, Milena, it's important for you to have all around the people that you like the most.
Yes.
And the positive thoughts, and every time to try to put away what is negative.
Yes.
Those reactions, as you say, to be strong, yeah, you have to be, because this is the world, and sometimes there are situations when you really have to be like that.
But yeah,
I
have to be, yeah.
Exactly.
Know, but I can be aggressive when I have to. Obviously, like if I feel like someone's taking advantage of me,
exactly.
You know, I can speak up for myself. That's not a problem. But like, you know, like with my book, I'm not like always out there. And I'm just kind of like, I put it out there and, and I just kind of going with the flow.
That's why a lot of people are admiring you and they love what you do, and that is good.
Yeah, it is good. And I feel like what's meant for me will come my way. And so far I have, I just put things in motion, and then I see what happens, and, I grab onto what I want, and then what I don't want, I just let it go. And that's the way I am. But
what do you consider your greatest achievement?
Well, I mean, obviously being a mother, I think every mother would have to say that, right? And I'm
speaking for myself as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky. The girls, I have 2 girls, and
I know
being a mom is not an easy job, but I think the girls that I have made my job as easy as can be for a mother. They're really good girls. They've been the type of girls I could take them anywhere. They're respective of others. In school, they're very admired by their teachers, and they get awards for being role models, and because they're just very kind, both of them, and they're not that bad. Obviously, I have a teenager sometimes. She's at that feisty age, and now my little one is becoming a preteen, and but they're wonderful. I can't complain too much. And then so I think that, and also obviously writing my book, I set the goal of putting this book together. It's not that easy, publishing a book.
I believe so.
I did it. I'm proud that I did it pretty much all by myself. I mean, 100%. Other than the recipes, I had friends and family share some of their recipes. Some were my own, some that I knew how my family cooked it, and I just kind of figured out what the ingredients, how much of each were. Others, especially like the baked goods, I had actual recipes and measurements from, I have my tia Luch, she's an amazing baker. So I reached out to her, and of course, my sister.
You shared exactly what you're doing with your beautiful book, to share exactly what you have from your own family.
Yes. And even my in-laws, they taught me how to make fresh cheese, which is something I always thought to myself, I'm never going to be able to make that, because my mother-in-law would make it. And I they're like, oh, I have to teach you. I'm like, yeah, okay, one of these days, and and then I was like, I don't know. And then my sister-in-law taught me how to make it. And it's like, wow, this is easy. And the way they make it, they were cheesemakers in Portugal. So they make it the very traditional, authentic way. And they used to make, my mother-in-law used to make cheese in Serra da Estrela, which is one of the most well-respected cheeses in all of Portugal. So I'm proud to have learned how to make that from them, people that are serranas from the Serra. And so I think putting my book together, and I'm very proud of the recipes I put in there. I think it's a good mix of, some of the most beloved recipes that people love. Some of the recipes that if someone non-Portuguese goes to Portugal will likely try and want to have again when they come back home. And a lot of the dishes are dishes that this new generation grew up eating, that their moms made, that their grandmothers made, even their dads, and that they would love to make at home someday, because we know our mothers are not going to be around forever, or grandmothers are not going to be around forever. So it's good to have that recipe right there. And I'm happy to have provided that, my hard work, and I'm happy I set that goal and I accomplished it, because I talked about it for a lot of years, and I even had a friend of mine every once in a while be like, oh, how's that book coming along? I had not even started it, I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And they're like, yeah, right. I'm like, I am, and then finally I did start it. I started the Facebook page, and then after that I started gathering the recipes and putting them together.
But, and you made a very, very good work.
Thank you.
You made a very, very good work. And I wanted to ask you as well, what do you most value in your friends?
Honesty. No hesitation. Honesty. That's one thing I don't like, when people like try to put something over on you. Like I trust honesty, and I'm the type of person that you know, if you have something to tell me and you think it's going to hurt me, I'm
Say
not going
it.
to like it.
Let's say it.
Say it.
Yeah,
I'm really not as sensitive. I'm not very sensitive, to be honest. Like, I'm at this age, I've seen a lot. I've dealt with a lot. And there's nothing that's gonna, when it comes to crushing me, like your words or whatever you feel, or it's not gonna crush me. You know, what would crush me is if I lost my health. That's the only thing that I can say that would honestly be hard for me to deal with. But anything else, I feel anything else in life that comes at me, I can deal with it. So if you have something to say, and even if you don't think I'm gonna like it, I'd rather hear it than you lie and do something behind my back.
Exactly. Or to be just, nice, just to be there nice.
No. I don't like fakeness. I don't like lying. I like people to be open. Like, I really admire someone who's open. I love that. I love that. And I think maybe that's one of the things I like in Portugal, because people are more open, more to the point. You know what I mean? Not, I don't like sneakiness. I like honesty. That's
Yeah.
what I admire most.
And in those days, rarely you find really people that are sharing this, to be honest, and to say things, not to think if they are using for their purpose or not.
No, I don't like that. No.
But I think both of us, we are dealing good with this because we feel we feel those people.
Yeah, exactly.
And for me, not to keep you much more, Milena, I want to say to all the people that are with us in this moment, and it will be after, we'll have, because the live, it will stay on my page as well on your page. Excellent. And I will share it to all my groups with Portuguese as well.
Yeah.
Who really wants to ask you, they will send you the questions as well. It's not a problem on this, on your page.
Yeah.
And
oh, I think I lost you, Livia. We're back. I lost you. I don't know what happened.
I'm sorry, sweet. No, the computer just turned off. Believe me, I don't know from what and what happened. Just put me on the black.
I'm sorry?
It was on the black. It just
it just went black. Yeah, you went black. And then I was like sitting here. I was like, oh, what do I do?
I was something like I'm talking alone here. But it's happening like that. We just we learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah? See, this is amazing with the live streaming. We discover, but it's not important. You know, it's important that we have people right beside, and you have a lot of people right beside Milena because they admire your work, like I'm doing, and in the same time, I'm saying for all the Portuguese as well, and not only to take this book because it's a very, very good book, and I think it's so good for someone who doesn't kept from the family or from grandma, or to have that book with recipes.
Yes,
your book it's really amazing on this because you discover the real traditional heritage of what means the Portuguese food, and this is very good.
Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. It's nice to know that it's appreciated. Definitely.
Yeah, that is matter, and it's important for the people to see and to understand that.
Yes,
and to love the essence and not something just to be nice.
Right, exactly.
It's the essence, exactly.
Yes, I'm glad.
You have already some messages. I think
really?
you see now.
Oh, yeah.
Laura Grillo.
That's actually my sister. She's tuning in. I learned a lot of things from her. Thank you, Laura.
I know. No, we are here. It's over. No.
No. It's not. Yeah, she wanted me to get on. I don't know. She texted me earlier. I'm like, I'm getting ready for a call. She's like, oh, yeah. I'm like,
exactly. So we are back.
Reaching up. Can I type on here?
I think on the chat. If you see it,
I can. Okay, I'll type it there. Okay, great. Maybe she'll see it. I hope.
Yeah, and the thing is that you have to put it, but on the comments.
Oh, where?
On the right side. You don't see
that's
it?
what I put. Yeah, I put it on live comments. Yes. Okay, now I see it. Now I see it scrolling there. Okay.
Yeah.
I did type. Oh wait. Okay, didn't type there. That's weird.
No, it was only in the private. Only between us.
I see. Okay. Oh, then I don't know where I type it. Oh, okay. This is new to me. Sorry.
We discover it on the way. It's not a problem. You don't see? Like that we learn.
Yeah, I know.
We are natural. Yeah. That is good. What is your motto, Milena? Because I don't want to keep you more. I know you are busy as well. And I'm glad that we spent this almost an hour together.
Yeah, I know. Very good.
And to talk about your book. And I really say to everybody, just order the Love for the Portuguese Food, because it's a really good book, and you have a lot to learn from there, or for who wants to discover, like me as well.
Yeah, I hope it helps you with some new dishes. There's always something new.
It will to make surprises to my husband.
Yeah, I find that, I mean, every region of Portugal makes things a little bit different. So, I know there's a lot of people that know how to make a lot of Portuguese food, but I bet you there's something in there that, you can find, because even though it has the most beloved, there's still a few, like I have the migas recipe and it might be from your husband's region, I don't know too. In Figueira, the migas that we make is with the greens and the broa, the cornbread, and the feijão frade. And you can only find that pretty much like in parts of central Portugal. So that's one that I recommend for people to try. And I'm curious if your husband's familiar with it, because he's from
Probably. I hope he will see our.
But if he hasn't had it in a long time, you should make it for him. It's delicious. Delicious. Yeah.
I will. With your book, I'm sure that I will make, and I will try a lot of other recipes. But I learned as well from him, because I like that. I discovered the Portuguese cuisine from his family.
Yeah, I know so many people, the men from that area of Portugal, all of Portugal, but I know so many people men from Buarques that are my family that were fishermen or non-fishermen. They make the most amazing dishes. And when it comes to seafood, my dad too. My dad, he made some amazing dishes that we can't even recreate exactly. It doesn't taste the same. He's gone, and we can't. Some things we try to recreate and it just doesn't come up.
Yeah, but his memories, all the time.
But those dishes remind us of him, definitely. It's nice.
Thank you so much, Milena, for this time that you shared with us.
Mm-hmm.
And we will meet soon, whenever you will have time as well.
Yes, definitely.
And when you think it will be good, and we will know much more about this live streaming.
Yeah, I know. It's all kind of new. I know. It's all kind of new.
We are learning every day. We are learning.
It's amazing that you're so far away, and we can talk. I love that. Yeah. That's so nice, and it's nice to connect with someone so far, but you feel like a connection with them. So that's
and nice. we will talk much more. I'm telling you, the connection it will be for sure, because I know that the people who really loves books and who really wants to discover something new and to really learn something, they will keep on touch with us.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you so much. Wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
And happy for the Mother's Day.
Yes. You celebrated it. Was it last week?
Yes, but tomorrow it will be.
Yeah, I know in parts of Europe it was last week. Yeah, tomorrow it's here. So I'll probably be cooking.
So yeah, mommy.
We're gonna have sardinhas asadas. So I season them. My husband grills them, but then we make maybe I'll have them make the salad and the potatoes. My daughters are gonna make some little Mother's Day themed cookies that I bought from a friend of mine that she makes a little do-it-yourself kit. So they're gonna do that. So at least that's
important. You are there with your girls and with your family, and this is the most important.
And my mom is here too, so it's nice.
Exactly, with all your family and mom. And
Mother's Day, at least, it's good. Another Mother's Day to be celebrated with her is always good.
That is good, and wish you to be healthy, to all of you.
Yes, same
and to keep on with this difficult situation that all the world are.
I know.
Dealing now, but we will have to pass this too.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Milena, and we'll keep in touch.
Yes, keep in touch.
For the love of the Portuguese food. Thank you. Obrigado.
Ok, obrigada.
Tudo de bom para ti e a tua família.
Igualmente. Ciao.
Ciao.